Princess Diana's famous BBC Panorama interview was explosive, and many members of the royal family felt the impact. The late Princess of Wales's landmark television appearance with Martin Bashir aired on November 20th, 1995, and 20 million tuned in as she made the well-known comment, "There were 3 of us in the marriage, so it was a bit crowded." Sitting opposite Bashir in Kensington Palace, Diana went on to question the now king's suitability for the throne, and opened up about her mental health struggles and extramarital affairs. It came after Charles's own interview, where in 1994, he too admitted his infidelity with Camilla Parker Bowles. Less than a month after Diana's controversial comments, the couple filed for divorce, which was finalized 2 years later. Diana's relationship with other royals also soured, and despite once being supportive, Princess Margaret felt the interview was a betrayal. Andrew Morton wrote in his 2021 book, Elizabeth and Margaret, Margaret experienced a deep sense of hurt and betrayal as she watched Diana's historic interview. The journalist and author writes, Queen Elizabeth's younger sister had attempted to help Diana assimilate into royal life by taking her under her wing and thought of her as a friend. Princess Margaret told her what would happen wherever they went and what to do, whose hand she would have to shake, and what to say. It was a bit like Eliza Doolittle, except of course, Diana was already posh, Margaret's chauffeur David Griffin previously said. She even persuaded the Queen to indulge Diana's whims and caprices on occasion, Mr. Morton writes. So when Diana's interview was broadcasted, Margaret saw it as a move against the monarchy. She responded by throwing away magazines that featured Diana on the front cover and ensured her children didn't continue any relationship with her. Not only did she cut off all contact with the princess, she also made it clear to her children that she did not want them fraternizing with the enemy. Mr. Morton writes in his book, Margaret's daughter, Lady Sarah Chatto, reportedly had a close bond with the Princess of Wales, and the pair were only 3 years apart in age. She was also the chief bridesmaid at Diana and Charles's wedding in 1981. Despite this, when Sarah had her first child in 1996, Diana was so cut off from her that she asked David Griffin to pass a gift on, Mr. Morton was informed. Margaret disagreed strongly with Diana's television appearance and wrote her a scathing letter afterwards expressing her feelings. The reaction devastated Diana, who had looked up to Margaret and appreciated her kindness when she first joined the family. Mr. Morton previously wrote in Diana, Her True Story, in her own words, how the princess told him, "I've always adored Margot. I love her to bits, and she has been wonderful to me from day one." Margaret could relate to Diana's difficulties with the royal family somewhat, and the media. With her unpredictability and panache, Margaret had been the Diana of her day and knew what it was like to be the media's chew toy. Tina Brown, former Vanity Fair editor and royal chronicler, writes in her best-selling book, The Palace Papers, Inside the House of Windsor, Diana's relationship with the Queen Mother was different and much less cordial. Mr. Morton shared in his book, the princess avoided the Queen Mother by keeping a distrustful distance, finding social situations difficult and formal with her. He wrote, 25 years after Diana's interview first aired, it emerged that Martin Bashir had secured his interview with the princess by falsifying documents. In 2021, an independent investigation by former senior judge Lord Dyson revealed the misconduct of reporter Martin Bashir and the BBC's lack of transparency surrounding the Panorama interview with Princess Diana, and raised questions about the manner in which interview was secured. The inquiry found that Bashir seriously breached BBC rules by mocking up fake bank statements to gain access to the princess. These suggested a staff member of Charles Spencer, Diana's brother, had been leaking information to the press and were used to induce the Earl to arrange a meeting with his sister, among other issues. It was also alleged that Diana was shown a faked abortion receipt, which suggested Charles had been romantically involved with one of the royal nannies. Bashir admitted at the time to having the documents forged, but denied ever showing them to anybody. The report slammed BBC bosses, including former Director General Tony Hall, for covering up information on how Bashir was able to secure the interview. After the findings were released, it prompted Prince William to make an unprecedented statement, saying the interview should never be aired again after it had created a false narrative for over a quarter of a century.